Good morning. I am just in real time kind of getting ready for my day. As you can see, I haven't gotten as far as getting out of my pajamas or doing anything for myself this morning yet. But my daughter just left for her, thank goodness, first day of summer camp. We've been trying to get through, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, without childcare. The weekend, of course, is the weekend. But anyway, so here I am, finally a moment to myself. Imagine that. If you know, you know. But I'm making my breakfast. So I have, I guess without moving the camera, I do 3 eggs sometimes, depending on what I'm making myself. But this morning I'm doing 3 eggs, and then I have flanken ribs. So if y'all haven't been doing this, you gotta do it. If you are high fat, so I just made these, are kind of maybe more done than I would want. But it's like short ribs, but cut the other way, basically. So they are high fat, they have great, they have collagen, connective tissue, and all of that that a slow cooked meat would have, a short rib would have. But cut this way, you can do it in the air fryer. You don't have to slow cook, and I've been having histamine reactions to slow cooked anything. So the flanken ribs are great for me to be able to get some of that connective tissue, higher fat, and these were a little over $10 a pound, under 11. So, not too bad. So I have I weighed it, with the bone was about 15 ounces. So this is gonna get me through breakfast and lunch today with some eggs added. And that's how I'll be kind of adding up my proteins. And I cooked my eggs in tallow. So if you're just seeing me for the first time, my name's Tiffany Brown. I am a certified health and life coach, and I'm also on my own personal health journey. So I have been navigating mostly carnivore, as an elimination diet, and I've been slowly beginning to incorporate small amount of plant foods. So I've kind of been referring to my diet as an animal-based ketobiotic diet. So my total carbs on a daily basis is under 20. So when I'm talking about bringing in plant foods as prebiotics, and also to support myself nutritionally. So for example, I've been kind of playing around with incorporating some avocado. It's a great source of potassium. So I'm trying to get some of my electrolytes from food that way. But I'm talking like a couple tablespoons, a couple broccoli florets like I had at dinner last night, with like not even it's like half a tablespoon of some sauerkraut. So I've been trying to dabble in a little bit of the probiotic foods as well. I've been having to be careful with that because of the histamine, but I've found that I've been able to I was even doing less than half a tablespoon before. So I have been very slowly easing into that, and that is not fully what this video is about. But I've just been, bringing in some various plant fiber foods to support my microbiome. So I will probably do another video about that. Today's video, other than sharing my beautiful flanken ribs that I cannot wait to eat after I'm done shooting this. But while my food was cooking, which it's no longer cooking because I got distracted with other things and getting my daughter ready to go to camp. But I have fat trimmings from my butcher. So I wanted to get into talking about the fats that I've been doing, because I've been doing much higher fat, trying to just play around with what it would feel like to be lowering my protein. And by lowering, I mean I'm still around 100 grams of protein a day. So sometimes I'm getting a little bit under that, sometimes slightly over. But over these weeks that I've really been pushing this, and I have been tracking, my trick for tracking, because I don't really like, the calorie focused, and even just like getting down to all the nitty gritty with these tracking apps. I just will put my food into ChatGPT. And what's great about that is I can also take pictures of what I have. So when I'm doing a steak or like these flanken ribs, I could take a photo of it. So the ChatGPT can actually see the marbling, and then and like the bones, and then specifically with the flank and ribs, see all of that, and I provide the weight. So then it's able to give me a slightly more accurate count of the macros. I'm really looking at, focused on looking at fat and protein, and I'm really trying to keep my protein moderate. So I am, right now, I'm about 132 pounds. I actually, in this time of trying to go high fat, I've actually gained 10 pounds. So 132 is, has felt high to me, but I've been trying to break away from any sort of attachment to the number on the scale and just go with the way that my body's been feeling its best. So as I've been going higher fat, yes, I've gained the weight, but I also feel like there's been a huge, my body has needed to eat. It's been wanting to be nourished. Feeling like I went through a period of feeling like I was hungry and I just wanted to eat. And at that point I was doing higher, I was doing high fat and higher protein, like more like 120, 130 grams a day. And getting just whatever nutrition I felt like my body needed. And then I hit a point where my body was starting to feel satisfied. And I also feel like I'm adjusting great, I'm about 10 months into this, and I'm getting into greater like keto or deeper keto adaptation. So that has been huge too. So it's a process, because we're working on trying to balance, the way things are going in the bathroom and how we're digesting fat, supporting our gallbladder. And that can be a huge factor in how we're processing these fats. And so I feel like I'm starting to get to a really good place with my ability to process these fats. So now I've been pushing them further, dialing back the protein, and I'm lifting still. I do small amounts of lifting every day, but I'm doing it 6 days a week, and I'm doing sprint intervals. I've noticed as I've been upping my fat and really supporting that, my body's energy source and needs is that I've been having more energy in the day and being able to do more like sprint interval training, which has been really great. But what I want to get to in this video, as I've been doing high fat, just sort of share what I've been eating, because it's tough to think of like, you have the fattier meats, right? So you can do, if you handle slow cooked, getting those chuck roasts in, short ribs are great. But the flank and ribs, I've been trying, because I can air fry them. And then, and doing ribeyes, things like that, right? I can do some pasture raised pork. I'm finding I'm not doing a ton of pork, but the ground pork that I get is very fatty. Lamb is fatty. If the ruminants, you're doing better with the ruminants and want some fattier cuts of meat that way. But I've been getting fat trimmings from my butcher. So this is one way that I do this. And what I do, so this is actually 2 pounds, and this cost me $4.70. So this is $1.99 a pound, my butcher. And this is a butcher at H-E-B, which is like a main, one of the main grocery store chains here in Austin. So this isn't some specialized place. You do need to call ahead of time if potentially. This time around, I just showed up and let them know. Sometimes when I do that, they're like, sure, come back in 10 minutes, like I'm catching them in a good moment. But then other times, they'll say, like this last time they said that I needed to come back at noon, that they would have it prepared for me. So you can call ahead of time, or just you want to show up first thing in the morning to get these. So I will, yeah, that is like way too tiny. But I'll cut these, try to get them into like 1 ounce pieces. I like to have them sort of 1 ounce at a time. So then, sometimes I might want to do closer to 2 ounces in a meal. But I will add these fat trimmings. I'm kind of cutting these pretty small, but that's fine. As long as they're, if they're on the smaller side, that's fine. And then I can try to add up to about 2 ounces when I cook them. So I will just cook this in the air fryer along with whatever else I'm making for myself. And then I'm also pouring the rendered fat over the food, or you can put it in a jar, pour it into a jar and put it in your refrigerator, or even set it on your counter. It's okay for a short period to be cooking with, or whatever else you want to do with it. But the reality is with fat trimmings is they are, you know, also made of some protein fibers. They're made of other things than just fat, and that pure fat ends up being the drippings. So of course there's still going to be some fat left in the, you know, the fat trimming that you make, but especially like the crispier you want them, the less fat what you have left is going to contain. So it's going to be that rendered fat that you're going to end up wanting. So if you can't, you're also going to notice with these fat trimmings, like this section of the fat trimming has quite a bit of meat on it, right? So it's not going to be a pure fat necessarily. So take advantage of that rendered fat either by cooling it if you do better that way and you need to save it for another meal, or to just be able to pour it over what you're eating. So I'm going to be continuing to cut this maybe after this video. I just wanted to share with you some of my other fat sources. So again, tallow. Tallow, don't love the texture, just eating it by itself. This I got this from HEB, again, my kind of mainstream, you know, grocery store. It's called Fond. I don't know if that's the full, it says Nourish Fond Delight, or Nourish Delight Fond, whatever. So that's it says it's regenerative, grass-fed, premium slow rendered beef fat. So this is pure and unflavored. I think they also have some flavors if you are into flavors. And then I've showed this in other videos, but this is right now top of the list, my favorite ghee. It's called Spring Sunrise. So ghee is kind of my go-to for the fat that you just put straight on the plate. So pretty much every meal I'll incorporate some fat trimmings, and then there's going to be, and if, you know, maybe I do, maybe I don't have the fat trimmings, but then I'm putting 2 to 3 tablespoons of ghee on my plate with my meal. So I just kind of incorporate it with every bite. It's really good. I'll sprinkle some salt on top of it. And that I've been enjoying. So for you, if butter's okay, you could just go to butter, and that's going to be way cheaper. But this is, you know, what's really working better for me. I've been having some reactions to butter. I've found I can do a little bit of butter if it is from this specific brand that's kind of local to Texas. But it is VAT pasteurized. As opposed to so there's other, you know, really great grass-fed, high quality, like I have Truly in my fridge right now for the rest of my family. That's a great brand. Some people are still liking the Kerrygold, at least just the salted kind. And I'm not doing great with, I get histamine reactions to those, but with the VAT pasteurized, I've been doing okay. So maybe even raw butter would be better, but I haven't found access to that locally, and I haven't really wanted to invest in the amount I would need to buy to be able to get it online, not knowing if it's going to work for me or not. So the VAT pasteurized seems to be fine, and then I'm doing the ghee. That brand, this brand of tallow that I have, I saw at the store also has lard as well as duck fat. So those are some other fats that you could play around with as well. So that's just generally, you know, fatty meats, tallow, If you're doing okay with lard or duck fat, and fat trimmings and ghee for me, or you can try butter. Those are kind of the great fat sources to be incorporating if you're wanting to be upping your fats, in addition to, of course, the fatty meats and other fatty, I've been doing some salmon too, sardines. So that's another way that I'm getting my fats, but I'm of course adding ghee to that. I tend to just mix it up with some ghee, and I'm usually eating it with some eggs. On some of my days where I'm doing ribeyes, where I'm getting if I cook one ribeye, I'm getting really most of my protein. I spread that out through 3 meals. Then I'm usually just doing egg yolks. So eggs are a good lever when you're looking at fat and protein and which direction you want to go. So I still love getting the nutrition from the yolks, and they do still have a little bit of protein, but there's going to be a bit of fat in there too. So that kind of sums it up. That's what I've been doing for my fats. Let me know if you have any questions about that. I feel like I kind of got to most things, but there's a good chance I forgot something. So if you have any questions, let me know. But just to kind of give you a glimpse into what my glucose and ketones are looking like, as I've been, again, dialing back the protein and incorporating more of these fats into my meals, I've been getting readings morning fasted, even potentially during that dawn effect window. This morning, for example, my blood glucose was 80 and my ketones were 2.2. So that's where I'm at. I'm kind of looking to be in somewhere in the upper 70s to mid 80s for blood glucose every day, and shooting for, 1.8 to 1.9 to 3.0 ketones is just sort of, for me as an experiment, the range that I'm playing with right now. I'm not strictly counting any calories. I'm, focused on macros and allowing myself to eat to satiety and making sure that I am not getting hungry and cutting any sort of corners in nourishing myself. So I am sure in the times that I have put this stuff into ChatGPT that I am well over 2,000 calories a day, which I need. As I said, I lift, and I'm very active in getting my steps per day. I'm a body worker doing massage, so I am up on my feet a lot of the day. I'm wanting to provide myself with the proper energy. I'm currently 5 days to my period, so right now I'm feeling super steady and super chill. That's been kind of a process in my journey of figuring out sort of like the perimenopause and premenstrual symptoms and moods and things like that. So I'm also seeing improvements in my sleep. I am waking up still here and there, but I'm able to fall back to sleep pretty easily, and feeling rested when I wake up. So so all is well here. I'm gonna keep you posted, and keep a lookout. Definitely like this video, subscribe if you're interested in kind of seeing more of my content, watching my journey, and seeing what I'm doing in these next, I want to give this experiment a few months of really trying to push ketosis, see, the last little bits of my healing. Like my rosacea's improved a lot, but it's not quite there. I'm dialing in my sleep, and wanting to just experiment with going lower protein as somebody who also lifts, and see the way that my body composition shifts. So I'm taking some chances here. But from everything that I've read, we can be, ketones are muscle sparing. There's less gluconeogenesis going on, and our body is more utilizing the ketones and fat, and less likely to be tapping into our muscle tissue or utilizing the protein we're consuming for new gluconeogenesis. So this is my test. So subscribe and follow along if you'd like. I hope you all are having a great day.